Hello, folks. This is Brandon Chapman with you today. It's December 22nd. We are 3 days away from Christmas and a holiday closure and a shortened trading day on Wednesday. And man, it just seems like there is a dash for trash today based on Trump's news of trying to align themselves. We want to dominate space. Stocks like Saidu making a big move today. Of course, gold shining amidst all of this stuff that's going on. We're going to break that down and look at some opportunities that are happening today. So, for example, gold up 2.2%. What happened over the weekend? Well, we did have the Bank of Japan basically saying they're ready to step in, right? They're ready to step in and curb any sort of weakness in the yen. Saw a big sell-off following their policy statement, a quarter point increase. Again, JGB yields are getting out of control in the 10-year. What is the Bank of Japan going to do? Inflation's a concern. They definitely don't want to see the yen really strengthen substantially with the new administration, new policy. Certainly a departure from what we've seen maybe in the past. We've seen some huge sell-offs like in 2022, for example. So now we're looking at the yen and saying, look, if they're going to step in, if they're going to basically intervene, buy yen, sell dollars in the case of significant weakness, where are they going to get dollars from? Well, they have a significant amount of reserves that's been built by virtue of trade deficits. This creates the dollar as a reserve currency. They also own a lot of our treasuries. So ways to generate dollars or to create dollars to be able to buy yen against the dollar. Well, they could sell treasuries. What happened in the treasury market? Let's look at 20-year plus here, down about a 0.25%. You can look at IEF, for example, down about 0.1%. Even spilling into the corporate bond market here, LQD down slightly and HYG down slightly. Well, now it's up a little bit as we're about to close here in about 15 minutes. So the point being is that selling treasuries, selling dollars will help support the yen. Well, man, if we go back a number of years ago with China, literally in a matter of weeks, they blew through like $350 billion of dollar reserves just to support their currency. Is that about what's going to happen with the yen here? Well, if we're flooding the market with dollars in order to support the yen, well, is that why gold's up 2%? I mean, silver's been the poster child here, up huge over the last number of weeks here, as there may be a shortage of silver, possibly. Maybe banks like JP Morgan are having trouble delivering, so the Fed's trying to provide liquidity. I mean, who knows? There's so much rhetoric going on, and obviously the silver solid-state battery that's using silver in it. So whatever. I mean, silver's really taking off here, but today we're finally starting to see gold perform alongside silver today, up about 2.2%, where SLV is also about 2.3%. So finally seeing gold catch up a little bit. Is this going to lead to a breakout in gold, which means what? The dollar's breaking down, which if we look down in the S&Ps up 0.63% and the dollar's getting crushed by 2% today, the fact of the matter is all of the sectors are underwater today. If we were to factor in a equal, like the dollar not changing in value over the weekend, once we understand that the dollar loses 2% of its value, and maybe there's some like fluff in the paper gold market that's leading gold outstripping just the dollar's weakness. But if we look at a 2% decline in the dollar over the weekend, and you look at the S&P only being up 0.6%, in real terms, the S&P is down. And that's what's creating so much concern overall, right? I mean, look at the S&P in gold terms. Let me try that again. 1L, right? I mean, look at the S&P in gold terms. I'm going to bring up a ratio of the two. And you notice here, I mean, the S&P is down today. We're back at October lows. We're back at April lows. If we put the S&P in gold terms, the S&P can't even outperform gold this year, right? If we look at where we began the year, the ratio up about 2.4, we're down at 1.67. The S&P is down significantly when we factor in the dollar's weakness and gold's strength over the course of the past year. This has been an abysmal year for the market, generally speaking, if we put things in gold terms. And what that means is if the dollar were to strengthen, the S&P could see significant weakness because in real terms right now, we're not trading at 684. We're trading at 480-ish if we account for the dollar's weakness, contributing all of the S&P's gains this year. And that is the fickle finger of the market and dollar's weakness. What if we start to hit recessionary conditions and the dollar strengthens significantly and goes back to the same position it was last year at the end? boy, we're looking at what? We're looking at the S&P trading at April lows or lower. So just realize that gold strength is a function of dollar's weakness. If the dollar were to strengthen significantly, gold pulls back here to 300. That would mean significant weakness being manifest in the S&P 500, assuming that we cannot generate the growth. Because what we're seeing right now is a very stagflationary market. Gold's up 17% in the last 12 weeks. The next is XLV at 14.5%, XLK at 4%. Not even Mag 7 companies, if we're to look at Mags plus GLD, have been able to outperform gold this year. Again, finished last year at a ratio of 0.225. We're currently at 0.16. So significant underperformance of Mag 7 companies. Well, what about Nvidia? Can Nvidia even compare? Not even Nvidia, and it's a great year it's had right now. But again, looking at where we were at the beginning of the year, over at 0.55, we're now down here at 0.44. Even Nvidia has not outperformed gold this year. And again, gold is a negative yielding asset in real terms, right? And again, once we factor in the dollar's weakness, right? Again, we take that away. Gold over time only maintains its purchasing power. Okay, so at the end of the day, the S&P against a consistent benchmark has really had a bad year this year. And for all intents and purposes, we are back at lows that we last saw in April. And today is ticking lower. Why? Because again, gold's up 2%. The S&P's only up 0.6%. That big differential is driving the ratio down because in real terms, the market did not gain anything today. So we may yet get a Santa Claus rally. What's the Santa Claus rally? Between Christmas and January 2nd, we get through the turn next year. But realize something, that this may largely be driven by what? The dollar imploding. So something I've articulated, since the November lows in here, for example, in gold, is that gold should lead the way. And again, we're seeing that leadership being manifest. And especially if we were to count for silver in here, silver's making a massive move over and above gold and stuff, up nearly 50% in the last 12 weeks, 42% in the last 6 weeks. And this week, up 7%. My expectation, gold may catch up here a little bit, as gold was outperforming silver earlier in the session, but they're about equal perform at the moment. We may see gold play a little catch up here as the dollar diminishes. And maybe we do see a little bit of speculation that ratio may normalize a little bit, that the silver market's not exactly as tight as what people are expecting. So again, that does not paint a bullish picture for the market, that the S&P cannot muster enough strength to outperform gold this time of year. But for the last, the last 11 years, this will be the 11th year where gold is out in a row, where gold has outperformed the S&P 500, getting into that January timeframe. And again, that's just reflective of overall conditions that are not super strong, right? And again, the fundamentals of the market we're not really growing in a fashion that really leads to outpacing gold's returns. And that's a major problem for the market. We're just seeing dollar's weakness ultimately creating S&P strength. Now, that doesn't mean that some areas of the market can't see some degree of strength. And that's, we look right here, for example, I got my Ghost Prince industrial and technology watch list here. And when you look at the top performing stocks today, SIDU. Well, what's SIDU? They're in the satellite business, right? Trump basically announcing, hey, we want to dominate space. So aerospace and what? We're looking at QBTS, for example. Here's satellites, ASTS, QBT, RGTI, IONQ, Rocket Labs. Again, that's space. These are quantum computing stocks. We're seeing some relative strength today in quantum as they're starting to make moves. And we're also seeing amidst this a lot of bullish trade in the options market, helping to drive the gamma in this space. So a lot of SPCE, VSAT. Again, we're talking quantum and aerospace companies dominating the performance today in that kind of technology space. So while technology generally is struggling today, go percent change, technology is down only at 0.4%. Why? Because the big cap tech names are not performing well. But if we look beneath the surface, industrial and technology stocks, industrial more of what ASTS, technology being quantum realm, feel like an Ant-Man here. But the quantum realm is doing pretty dang well today. Now, are we going to see continuation? Well, if we're looking at the volumes in the market here, again, where we're seeing strength. So I'm going to bring up the Ghost Prince surveillance console here, and we're going to kind of try to break this down. There are 1,324 different option trades today. See a lot's coming in right now in gold, for example. Boy, look at that! Look at that time right here. Boom, right. The lot here, just this hour, several big trades in gold is coming through today. But as we get down, I'm going to take a look at some block trades here, and we're going to sort by the squeeze bar. So you'll see a call spread, 420, 425. Oh no, that's probably not the same trade. Yeah, different times there. So we'd have to expand it out to see the sell side of this. But let's just quickly show it. So we're talking about gold here. So let's just resell our filters. We'll type in GLD, and lots of stuff going on here. But if we look at the trades and we kind of pair them together, we can see what. So if we look at a 425, 440, they're buying the 425, selling the 440s. Look at the other piece of it, 319.55. Right here, 415, 420s. And again, right here, they're doing above the ask. So buying the 415, selling the 420s. And you'll see we only had about 23,000 open interest, 119,000. We're seeing some big time trades coming in here. And let's just see what the size of the print is today. Let's go 100 and we'll be able to see it hopefully. But 113,670 contracts bought. Man, it's crazy, right? 160 of the 415s here, selling the 420s. They're buying the 425s, selling the 440s. Big time interest coming in today in gold, for example. And again, expecting it to play catch up here, right? Well, let's again go back to block trades and let's focus on the squeeze bars. We're looking at stuff that has higher open interest that's also in this kind of quantum realm. We look at RGTI here, for example. RGTI saw some significant 4,000 call contracts bought early in the session. Sales don't matter. They don't create the gamma, but this does. They didn't just suddenly sell the 4,000. That's locked in there, right? So we have this upside gamma potential. Now there's some contracts sold in there that may offset it a little bit, but this is an example of flow. We got a strike price for Jan 2nd at 38. It's a bit out of the money. Well, let's expand our filter just a little bit. So let's just eliminate this, and I'm going to go to the volume to OI ratio of 1.2. So we're looking at generally kind of opening interest, and we're focused on high squeeze bar kind of companies here, right? And you can see, again, FFAI, for example, again, 2,000, we're scaling up to 3,900. But again, we're looking for some of these in here that might be in the semiconductor space. Open, again, SMCI. As we keep going down, HUT, we're talking about what? We're talking about cryptocurrency, Lyft, and then we get down here, SPCE, $4 call options being traded, right? QUBT, we're looking at what? $13 call options. Now here's a put. We want to look at the call side since we're really looking at squeeze plays to the upside. Again, IONQ here. There's a number of trades, ASTS, IONQ again, right? So many of these, we're seeing many different trades. This is the most active this space has been for a while. And also you look down here at Hertz, right? So we'll take a look at Hertz in just a second. You see a number of these bullish trades occurring in this Ghost Prince industrial and technology space. And why are we targeting these things? Because they have high short interest. We're looking at a potential short squeeze. And as we look at the movement that we're seeing in these stocks, it's because they do have high short interest. Well, what's the best one there? The one that has the biggest block trade today is RGTI. So I'm looking at this thing probably getting at about a 61% retracement, 50% to 61. That's a $40 to $45 target here. Now, I'm looking at this thing at least getting to 30. If we break through 30, we might see this push even further. And if we look at any sort of build up here in open interest, we're seeing a lot's being created. We'll see how much of this spills over that might help create further gamma as we break through 27 and 2750 and 28, as the volume that we're seeing translates to open interest tomorrow. And again, the one space we know that, hey, there is significant activity today and a big block trade in RGTI is what? Oh, we saw it right here, for example, the Jan 2nd 38s. But look here, we got some build up here for the 28s as well. We can click on the location and we can see like some of the bigger trades here. But where do we see the biggest trade occur? Where do we get our signal? This likes we're probably just filing in throughout the course of the day. But let's go 100 plus and see where we got our trade signal here or our alert. It looks like we just kind of limped over. You'll see a 2038. So we'd have to dig in a little deeper. But right there, we did see that 4,000 contract print that created the trigger here. We might see some other filtering in. And to be honest, I mean, as we look at the trade in RGTI, it's not all lopsided here, right? You got 20 and 22, 56% between the bid and ask. But again, generally speaking, if we're to break it down, we're seeing a little bit more buy side activity in this one. I got this 29 coming through for 26Ds, but that could be a closing order. But anyway, we're missing some of the interest here. So we got the 38 right there. This 26Ds 29. Let me just share since it's coming up here. But 29 right there. Notice that 4,000 is less than 5,000. We're kind of building up to get over that line there. But anyway, what we're seeing is, again, 4,000 contracts bought there at 18 cents. That was sold at the bid. And it could be a closing order. But right there, we can see an opening order at the 38 strike. But again, you go down the list, right? QBTS, we're seeing just generally things are getting lifted. We're getting squeezed today. As we look at the option activity here, leaning a little more towards the buy side. QUBT, looking here, we're leaning a little bit more towards the buy side in QBT. But all of these companies, again, are seeing a nice boost today and generally seeing more on the buy side than on the sell side, the opening trades, buying calls, etc. And it's helping to drive these stocks in the near term. Another stock here today is Hertz, right? Hertz is seeing a squeeze, the dash for trash. I mean, none of these companies are sound fundamental companies. There's significant volatility, but I'll tell you, I mean, the calls are relatively cheap because they make these huge moves because of the short squeeze, and the call spreads because they buy calls to hedge. It makes long call verticals relatively cheap. As we're looking Hertz, it's up 11% today. Again, looking at this thing targeting about 7.5 up here. Maybe we get to 9, right? These things can make big moves in very short amount of time because of the level of short interest. And again, as we go back here to the squeeze bars, and I'll just bring up HTZ so we can see it. But again, 3, and we're kind of basing the squeeze bar off of shares outstanding. We're going to flip this to float. This would have 4 bars if we looked at float, because there's a big difference between the percentage of short interest against the shares outstanding versus the float. So again, this is a high squeeze potential stock today, buying some calls in it. But here's the deal though. We've already tracked a lot of interest in Hertz. For example, this 20 Feb, we're kind of building out here at the $5-6 strike price. We go 16 Jan, the 750, the 9s. Using the console, we can go back in the past and be able to identify what happened at some of those other points. And how do I know when that interest is built? All I got to do is just call up the chart here. For example, at 9 and go more info, toss charts. We'll just go right over here and you'll see, wow, this back here on December 4th. Well, if we went back in the console, you would have seen a significant print, bullish print, buying calls in Hertz back on December 4th. So we have all this lingering call activity here that were in the past. We've been tracking several of these over the last several weeks that help create upside gamma. And so as I'm looking at Hertz, man, the next major level to break here is around 6. And again, if we could tackle 6 in the near term, this could create a decent size squeeze here. Sorry, I'm trying to refine this here. If we could break 6, this could create a decent squeeze to quickly get us to 7 or possibly 850, maybe even 950 in the short term. Well, that's the bell, folks. That's where we're kind of finished here. But some stocks with some gamma exposure, gamma squeeze potential building today because of Trump's announcement in the aerospace business. Plus, again, just general gamma that's already been built. We're starting to see that momentum from the price that could have a chance to drive a number of these names higher this week, as maybe the lift at the absence of selling ultimately creates buying and exposure and squeezes to the upside. The gamma squeeze, the short squeeze play. Just did a masterclass last Friday on it for 2 hours, kind of explaining how this all comes together. So something we try to trade as much as we can in Ghost Prints. Well, folks, we'll catch you on next week's video. You have a great one. Thank you.